But the dolphin, even though they're swimming in really cold oceans, because they have that layer of blubber underneath their skin, they can swim in that cold water and they actually stay warm. You know what else God did to create them to do what they do really well? Swim really fast through the water, jump out of the water, and do all kinds of cool dolphin-y kind of things. Well, God created their skin to be really smooth so that as they glide through the water, there's nothing holding them back from swimming really fast. If you've ever seen a dolphin swim really fast, they swim really fast. And it's really cool to watch. You know what else God did to design and to create the dolphin to be able to do what it does best? He gave them the ability to do something called, big word, are you ready for it? Echolocation. You want to say that with me too? All right, ready? Echolocation. Echolocation, what happens is the dolphin will make like 1,000, literally up to 1,000 clicking noises in 1 second, right? That's fast. I mean, can you try it? Like, and that sound actually travels underwater until it hits something, and then it bounces back to the dolphin so that he knows, so the dolphin knows where that object is, so that when he's swimming really fast, he doesn't run into rocks or whales or other fish or something like that. Or when he's hunting and he's looking for fish to catch and to eat himself, he throws out those clicking sounds, and he can the dolphin will be able to see where a fish is and go and get that fish, right? That's pretty amazing when you think about it, right? I mean, just the fact that they can make clicking noises, 1,000 clicking noises in a second. Okay, I want you to try this with me. Okay, try to make as many clicking noises as fast as you can. Ready? Here we go. Ready? That was like 3 seconds, and I think I only got like 5 clicks in or something like that. But a dolphin can do 1,000 in just 1 second. That's amazing. But that's how God created them, so that they would be able to navigate themselves through the ocean, especially when they swim really fast with that smooth skin while they stay nice and warm under their blubber, right? God created dolphins to be incredible creatures. Now, how about an example of a flying creature that God designed, like a woodpecker? Now, a woodpecker, have any of you guys ever heard a woodpecker pecking on wood with their beaks, right? And then what they're doing is they're drilling holes into the water so they can find little bugs underneath the bark of trees, and that's how they find their food. Well, the woodpecker has little tufts of feathers that cover its nostrils, its nose, right? Why do you think it has feathers that cover its nose? Well, what do you think happens to all that wood flying everywhere when they're pecking at the wood with their beaks? It goes everywhere, and if they didn't have something to cover their nose, they would breathe in that sawdust, and that wouldn't be very good for them. Well, God designed the woodpecker perfectly so that it would have feathers over its nostrils, and it wouldn't be breathing in those chips of wood as it's drilling those holes. Now it can pack holes in trees without getting a whopping headache also. You know why? Because God put a special cushion or like a spring inside of its head that acts like a shock absorber, right? You know, when you jump, if you keep your legs really straight, it's kind of a hard landing, right? But what if you bent your legs a little bit and you sink down a little bit and it's kind of a softer landing, right? That's called absorbing the shock. Well, God created a woodpecker's head so that it had a cushion inside of its head so that when it's going donk, 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 donk against the tree really hard, it's not hurting the woodpecker's head and giving him a massive headache, right? Isn't that amazing? Well, God created these flying creatures, and it was on this day, on day number 5, that he created these amazing creatures. And God, verse number 22 now. Sea creatures and flying creatures everywhere. Verse 22 says, and God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the 5th day. Now, as we go on now to the 6th day, verse number 24 says, and God said, Let the earth bring forth living creatures after its kind, cattle and creeping things like snakes and bugs and beetles. God said, let bring forth the living creatures after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth, and after his kind. And God saw that it was good. God saw that it was good. So God made, on day number 6, he made all of the land animals, which would include bugs and snakes and even dinosaurs, because they're land animals too. And God saw that it was good. Now, on this day, God also made his most important creation. What do you think that was? He made the first 2 people, right? He made Adam and Eve on day number 6. He made them, in fact, the Bible even tells us that he made them in his own image. Verse 26 says this, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So it's on this day that God created man and woman. He created Adam and Eve, and he did that in his own image. Now, there's an interesting word there. It says that when God created Adam and Eve, he gave them dominion over the earth. The word dominion means to be in charge of something. For instance, does anybody have a dog? We have a dog. Our dog's name is Lily. Now, is your dog in charge of you? No, probably not. I mean, he shouldn't be. That'd be kind of silly if your dog was the one who was in charge in your house, right? Well, in our house, our dog Lily is not in charge. In fact, even Nate and Evie get to tell Lily what to do. Because guess what? God has given us dominion over the creatures of the earth, over the animals, and we get to be in charge of the animals. You know, people were supposed to have charge of everything on the earth, including the animals. And this means that we should take good care of the earth and the animals and use all of it with wisdom and use it wisely. But it also means that animals and people, they are not the same. They are not equal. We are much more important than the animals, and we are actually the ones who are in charge of them. And we are God's most loved, most precious, and most valued creation. We are not only part of his creation that God, or we are the only part of his creation that God made in his own image. We're special, and we're actually set apart from the animals. That's really cool to think about, isn't it? You know, sometimes our world, they'll try to tell you that you are just a really advanced animal. But that's not true. The Bible tells us that we were created in God's image to be special, to be loved by God in a very special way that the rest of creation is not loved. Now, not that God doesn't love creation, what he has made, but he loves you and me in a very special way because he made us in his own image. Isn't that incredible? How cool is that? Genesis chapter 1, we're going to skip to verse 31. He says this, "And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day." Wouldn't it have been cool to be there in a very, very good world and see a lion laying down next to a lamb? Do you think you'd see that today? Probably not. If there was a lion close to a lamb, what do you think would happen? Yeah, the lion would gobble up the lamb, right? Guys, we live in a broken world today, but when God first created the earth, he created everything to be good and perfect and beautiful in a way that it isn't today. Wouldn't it have been nice to be able to be there when dinosaurs were walking next to Adam and Eve? I mean, can you imagine? You're like walking along and here comes a big Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? And you look up and say, "Hey, T-Rex." And the T-Rex goes and says hi back or something like that. But wouldn't it have been really cool? The animals back then, they didn't eat each other. They wouldn't have eaten humans. In fact, all animals and all people, they only ever ate plants originally. As the Bible tells us in Genesis verses 29 through 30, it says, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." In other words, for food. So God gave plants. Verse 30, "And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb." And he's talking about plants right here, "for meat." And it was so. So when God first created everything, he created animals and humans to just eat plants. Now that's kind of cool, isn't it? It was a perfect and beautiful place. As we go, so we've gone over the first 6 days of creation, but that wasn't the end of the story of creation, was it? The next day was day number 7, and on day number 7, God rested. I want you guys to take a big sigh with me, right? After a really long, hard day of work, you come home, you pull up down on the couch, and what do? You go, and you rest, right? Verse number 1 in chapter 2, it says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made." So 1 week had gone by, and God was finished. Let's say the 7 days of the week together really fast. Okay, ready? Start with Sunday. Ready? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, that's it. And then, oh, wow, can you say it faster? Ready? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, that was pretty fast. I think you guys beat me that time. All right. So have you ever wondered why we have a 7-day week? Yeah, if you said it's because to God, God did creation in 6 days, and then on the 7th day he rested. God gave us the pattern for our week. So in Genesis, we see there that God created in 6 days and then rested for 1 day, and he set up that pattern, and the entire world has used that pattern of the week for since the beginning, basically ever since God created the world. There's no other reason that time would have been divided up that way by people consistently, particularly if millions of years of history was actually true. But it's been that way from the beginning because God started it that way, just the way that the Bible tells us it did. So, how do you like that? God made the whole earth and all the plants and animals and people in 6 days, not that long ago. In fact, in the book of Exodus, we'll see on our slide here, it says, "For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day." God made it all in just 6 days. What an incredible God we have.